When evaluating integrals in calculus of rational functions, it's often to our advantage to be able to write those rational functions in a simpler way. To do that, one method we have is called partial fraction decomposition. And that's what we're going to talk about today. On this first page, I have three examples of different cases of, or different types of rational functions, the way they can be written. We're just going to focus on the first two here. So let's get started. So given a rational expression in the form P over Q, it is often advantageous for us to be able to write that expression as a sum of partial fractions. There are three situations to concern ourselves with. So the first one is where Q has non-repeated linear factors. So let me address that real quick. So non-repeated linear factors. This is how it looks symbolically, I guess. The example shows you a lot more what that means. If you look at the denominator has two factors. They're both linear because x is to the first power, and they're not repeated. This x plus 4 only happens one time. The x minus 3 only happens one time. So that's what non-repeated linear factors, and I'm going to do this example on one of the subsequent pages. Example 2 is if we have repeated linear factors. So repeated linear factors, now you look at the denominator again, which is factored. X minus 3 only occurs one time, but this linear factor of x plus 2 occurs twice. Okay? So we're going to learn how to handle each one of these situations. Okay? Case 1 is the easier case, and case 2, while not difficult, it, takes a little bit more work. One thing to notice is this fraction has two factors, therefore you'll separate it into two fractions. This denominator looks like it has two factors, but one of them repeats. So if we count the x plus 2 twice and the x minus 3 once, this we can separate up into three partial fractions. So let's get to it. Let's try a couple of examples here. So in this first one, this is negative x minus 18 over x squared plus x minus 12. I want to write the partial fraction decomposition of this. Make sure you read the directions so that you know what you're being asked to do. Now the first thing you want to do is you want to be able to factor this denominator. So it's okay if the numerator isn't factored, that's no big deal, but the denominator must be factored. So this denominator can be factored as x plus 4 times x minus 3. So your first step is going to be to separate this. Since there are two factors down here, I will have two fractions. One fraction will have a denominator of x plus 4, and the other fraction will have a denominator of x minus 3. And you can always put a plus here. We're going to add these two partial fractions together, and that equals this. Keep in mind as we do this, what I'm doing here is taking something like, let's say I had 5/6 as a fraction, for example. We know 5/6 would be 3/6 plus 2/6, okay? Which, if I had common denominators, would be, or I'm sorry, which if I simplify them, would be 1/2 plus 1/3. That's basically what we're trying to do. We're trying to take a bigger fraction, separate it into two smaller ones, okay? So I'm trying to find two fractions I can add together to get this one, okay? Now, the part that we have to figure out is, I can see what the denominators of these two fractions are going to be. What are the numerators? Well, I'm just going to call one of the numerators A. I'm going to call the other one B, okay? Now, what I need to do is I need to solve this equation for A and B so that I can rewrite this fraction, okay? So how am I going to do that? Well, first I'm going to try to clear the fractions. To clear the fractions, I'm going to multiply by the common denominator of all these denominators. Now the good thing is this denominator on the left will always be your least common denominator. So I'm going to multiply by x plus 4 times x minus 3 on both sides. Now recall that when you multiply this right side by x plus 4 times x minus 3, there are two terms. That x plus 4 times x minus 3 needs to be distributed to both terms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write x plus 4 times x minus 3 by each of these, because everything has to be multiplied by that denominator. So let's go through and look and see what happens here. So on the left side, this is going to cancel out the denominator completely, leaving me with just negative x minus 18. On the right side, when I multiply this, x plus 4 divided by x plus 4 is 1. So I'm left with a times x minus 3, which I am not going to multiply out, and you'll see why in a second. Then plus here, the x minus 3's dividing make 1, so they cancel. And I have b times x plus 4. Again, I am not going to simplify that. Now from here, what I'm going to do is to solve for a, I'm going to try to isolate b. I'm going to try to eliminate b. How can I eliminate b? Well, what I can do here is I can let x equal whatever value will make this equal 0. Well, x plus 4 will equal 0 if x is negative 4. So I'm going to let x equal negative 4 and watch what happens. So take this whole equation, let x equal negative 4. So the opposite of negative 4 is 4. 4 minus 18 is negative 14 equals negative 4 minus 3 is negative 7a. And then negative 4 plus 4, that would be 0b. So solving this, I find out that a is 2. Now, next, I'm going to try to figure out b by eliminating a. How can I eliminate a? Well, I can let x equal 3. And now plugging 3 in, opposite of 3 minus 18 is negative 21 equals 3 minus 3 is 0a, so that's gone, plus 3 plus 4 is 7b. Dividing both sides by 7, I find out that b is negative 3. So my answer, now you've done all this work, make sure you write your answer. My answer is the partial fraction decomposition would be a, which I know is now 2, so I can take 2 over x plus 4, plus b is negative 3. So I can put plus negative 3 on top, or I can go minus 3 over x minus 3. So if I add these two fractions together, or subtract them in this case, I should get negative x minus 18 over x squared plus x minus 12. In class, we'll actually check that. I'm going to try to keep the video short. I'm going to go on to the next one here. Now, in this problem, I've got 3x squared plus 6x plus 5 over x to the third plus x squared minus 8x minus 12. Now, what we're going to do for this one, I'm going to open up my calculator here. If you have a denominator like this that's difficult to factor, what we can do is find the zeros by graphing that denominator, and then you try to factor it that way. So let me go into y equals, and I'm going to type in that x cubed plus x squared, and then I'll have to look at the rest. I know there's an 8x and a 12 in it. So x cubed plus x squared, and then let me go back real quick, minus 8x minus 12. So if I type this in, and I forgot already, I think it was minus 12. Let me just double check. I don't want to get it wrong here. Yes. Okay. And if I would just hit zoom 6 to graph this, I want to find out where it's crossing the axis so I know where it's equal to 0. So here it comes. Looks like it's touching at negative 2 and crossing at 3. Touching at negative 2 and crossing at 3. So that means if 3 is a 0, x minus 3 must be a factor. If negative 2 is a 0, then x plus 2 must be a factor, and since it's touching, it must have an even multiplicity. So going back here, I can see that this is going to be factored as x minus 3, remember it crossed at 3, and x plus 2, it touched at negative 2 to the second power. Notice 1 plus 2, adding these exponents together, I get a total of 3. So that should work. So now here's what I have. I've got 3x squared plus 6x plus 5 all over x minus 3 times x plus 2 squared. Well, what I can see here is that I've got a repeated linear factor. So watch how I'm going to do this one. This time, I've got two different factors, but one of them occurs twice, so I can split that up into 3 fractions. Now watch this. One of them is going to be x minus 3, and that's easy. That only occurs one time, so we do that. Another one is x plus 2. But what am I going to do for the third fraction? Well, I'm going to put x plus 2 to the second power. So we're going to have x plus 2 to the first and x plus 2 to the second. If this x plus 2 had been raised to the third power, then I'd have an x plus 2 to the first, an x plus 2 to the second, and an x plus 2 to the third. You're going to have that denominator for each one. So now, call your numerators whatever you want. Usually we'll call them a, b, and c. We'll just kind of go in order. And now do what you did in the last problem. Multiply everything by the least common denominator, which you will recall can be found on the left-hand side. So I'm going to multiply everything by x minus 3 and by x plus 2 to the second power. So I'm going to do that by everything on this side as well. Multiply by x minus 3 and x plus 2 to the second power. So just give me a second to write all those down. And let's multiply. So on the left-hand side, this whole denominator will cancel, leaving me with 3x squared plus 6x plus 5 equals, over here, x minus 3's cancel, so a is now multiplied by x plus 2 to the second power. Plus, now one of the x plus 2's cancels, not both of them. So I have b times an x minus 3 and an x plus 2. And finally, now both x plus 2's cancel here, and I've got c times x minus 3. Okay, so now, again, to eliminate a, I can let x equal negative 2, and you notice by letting x equal negative 2, not only is it going to eliminate a, but it's going to eliminate b also. Check this out. If I put negative 2 in here, negative 2 squared times 3 is 12, minus 12 is 0, plus 5. So I get 5 on the left, equals negative 2 plus 2 is 0, 0 squared times a is still 0. 0 minus 3 is negative 3. I'm sorry, negative 2 minus 3 is negative 5. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. 0 times negative 5 times b, that's 0. The only thing that's going to be left is this negative 2 minus 3, which is negative 5c. And dividing by negative 5, I find that c is negative 1. Now I can let x equal 3. That's going to eliminate b again and c. Let's try that. 3 squared is 9 times 3 is 27. Plus 18 is 45, plus 5 is 50, equals 3 plus 2, 5 squared is 25a. And again, putting 3 in here, I get 0 times 5b, that's all 0, and 3 minus 3 is 0c. So dividing by 25, I find a is 2. Now here's the different part. I ran out of things to let x equal, right? Well, the good news is the only thing I don't know anymore is b. And I already know a and c, so I can actually let x equal anything I want to other than negative 2 and 3 again. Now, I like 0. I'm going to let x equal 0, and I'm going to remind myself that I found c is negative 1 and a is 2. So now watch this. Let me scroll a little bit here. So let x equal 0. 0 plus 5 is 5, equals a is 2 times 0 plus 2 squared, that's 4, plus b times, if I put 0 in, I get negative 3 and 2. Negative 3 times 2, that's negative 6, plus c, which, oopsie, I know what c is. C is negative 1. So plus a negative 1 times putting 0 in here, I get negative 3. So let's do this quickly. 5 equals 8 minus 6b plus 3. 8 and 3 make 11. If I subtract that 11, I get negative 6. And then dividing by negative 6, I find out that b is 1. So my answer is, put a over x minus 3, so 2 over x minus 3, plus b, which is 1 over x plus 2, plus c, which is a negative 1 over the quantity x plus 2 squared. And there it is. Okay, so when you have a repeated linear factor, you have to let x equal something else and use the other two variables you found, and you're good to go. All right, that's it. Good luck with partial fraction decomposition.